Hi guys, it's Hani here, and today I'm going to show you step by step how to make homemade marshmallows. And since we are headed for a candy corn season, I decided to put a little twist on this basic marshmallow recipe, and I made candy corn marshmallows. You can find a full step-by-step recipe with pictures on my blog, hanielas.com. Link is in the description box under the video. And now let's get started. I'm going to start by pouring cold water into my stainless steel mixing bowl and then sprinkle gelatin over the cold water and let it bloom for 5-10 minutes or so until you prepare your sugar syrup. Now today, to make the sugar syrup, I'm going to use invert sugar. This is an alternative to corn syrup you can use in this recipe. It is really easy to make at home. Only 3 ingredients are used to make invert sugar. It is basically a sweetener, and I like to store it in a fridge so you can see it's super firm at this point. I'm going to microwave it until we can pour it out of the jar into a stainless steel pot. And invert sugar, it's used to inhibit or slow down the crystallization process. It's used in candies, fudge, fondant, and even marshmallows. So now back into the fridge. Now into the invert sugar and my stainless steel pot, I'm adding water, granulated sugar, and salt. I'm going to cook this on low heat until everything is dissolved and the mixture is homogeneous. I'm especially looking for the sugar crystals. I want all the sugar crystals to be completely dissolved. So cook this on low heat and watch for the sides of the pan. If you see or feel any graininess, it needs to be cooked for a little longer. Now you can wash down the sides of the pan with a pastry brush dipped in water to make sure that all of the sugar crystals are completely dissolved. You don't want any of those on the sides of the pan. Or what I also like to do, I like to cover the pan with a lid for 3-4 minutes, and the condensation is going to wash down the sides and they will be perfectly clean. Once everything is dissolved, stop stirring at this point and attach a candy thermometer. Bring it to boil, increase the temperature to medium-high, and then cook it until the sugar syrup reaches 240 degrees of Fahrenheit. Then pour it down the sides of your mixing bowl into the bloomed gelatin. You can see it's going to foam up significantly. This is totally normal. And then take a spoon, a long spoon, I'm using wooden spoon, and stir it until all of the gelatin is dissolved, and this is going to take maybe 30 seconds to a minute or so. Now I'm going to move the bowl onto my stand mixer, and we're going to beat this on low speed for a little bit and then increase the speed to medium-high. Mixture will turn opaque. This is what you want. So while that's beating, I'm going to prepare egg white mixture. I'm using meringue powder and some warm water, and I'm just going to whisk it until I have soft peaks formed. You don't have to use egg whites. I like to use egg whites because they make the marshmallows a bit more fluffier, and they also delay the setting of the gelatin, which is really important if you are coloring the marshmallows like we are doing today. But like I said, you don't have to use egg whites. It's an optional ingredient. Now I'm also going to add some flavors. I'm using vanilla, almond, and lemon extracts. You can use any number of extracts you wish. That's totally up to you. And I'm going to watch for the mixture to triple in volume. And then we can add the extracts and also the egg whites. At this point, you should have your food colors prepared. I'm using orange and yellow concentrated gel food colors. And if you are making this for a Christmas, you could definitely use different colors. You know, you could even make this ombre, like use just one color, just make each layer lighter and lighter. That would be really beautiful. I made that a long time ago. Or use green and red for Christmas marshmallows. Now you should ideally have your bowl weighted before, and then you can just subtract that amount from the total weight and divide by 3. I love my kitchen scale. This is my favorite scale to date. I've tried different scales. This is the favorite one, so if you want to check it out, it's a really good gift for any baker or any cook in your family or a friend. Check it out, it's listed on my blog. So now I'm just gonna add the food color and quickly mix that in. Today I'm using a 9 by 9 inch pan, and we're going to have a pretty tall marshmallows. If you want the marshmallow layer to be a bit smaller, use a larger pan. You want to spray it or butter it up. I'm using a pan non-stick spray. And then we can pour the first layer. Now with the candy corns, I always struggle with the color order. I always have to look it up because I think it's not natural to have yellow and orange. I feel like it should be orange and yellow and white. But anyway, so start with the yellow. And if you can't figure it out, just look up candy corn on internet. It will give you the correct color order. And then you want to, in a zigzag pattern, pour the orange layer and then use a spatula that is sprayed with a non-stick spray and smooth the top. And then last layer, obviously, that's going to be the white layer. And like I said, do a zigzag pouring so it's somewhat evenly on the top, and then you can use the knife or a spatula to spread it. And then we have to let this sit for about 6 to 8 hours, so there is a little bit of an inactive time, and this is going to allow gelatin to set. And while that's happening, you can just forget about it. And right before, prepare your coating mixture, and I'm using powdered sugar and cornstarch. So you want to whisk this together, and I'm going to use a sieve because I find there are still some lumps in there, and I'm just going to sift some of this mixture on my cutting board, and then we'll invert the marshmallow layer on the top. And this is going to help prevent sticking because at this point this is super sticky, especially the top part. Alright, so here it is. Again, more powdered sugar and cornstarch on the top. And I'm going to use a ruler to cut this into even strips. I'm going to be doing 1.5 because I want these to be cubes, so I'm matching the thickness. And I'm using my sharp chef's knife that I'm going to butter so it's not sticking to the marshmallows. I've seen people also use shears to cut the marshmallows. You can also do that if you don't have a sharp knife. I wanted to have like really nice cubes, so that's why I decided to use a knife. Alright, so now just cut through. Be patient with it. You might want to butter the knife more than once. Look how pretty. I love how these look. So fun. Everybody loves homemade marshmallows. They're great in a cup of hot cocoa. Talking about hot cocoa, I have a really great recipe for a homemade mix for hot cocoa on the blog and also on my YouTube channel. Alright, so now each strip needs to be cut into a cube. And you'll notice if you haven't made marshmallows that all of the sides are kind of a bit sticky. So to help with the stickiness, that's where the cornstarch and powdered sugar comes in. Okay, so I'm gonna use that to coat the sides, but they're not gonna be like super coated with the mixture. You just want that stickiness that kind of goes away. It goes away with that. So I'm just going to add few of the cubes into the powdered sugar and cornstarch and just coat them, and then I'm gonna put them into a large metal sieve and sift it to remove any kind of residue. And then you can store these in an airtight container at room temperature, layered between pieces of parchment for up to 2-3 weeks. You can also dip them in chocolate if you'd like. They make for really cute treats. And again, full recipe with written instructions and step-by-step picture tutorial. If you are more of a picture visual learner, you can find it on my blog hanielas.com. Link is in the description box under the video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys will give this recipe a try. Let me know if you do. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notified about my new uploads. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll see you next time.